Today I have a crazy player to show you, a Master Akshan main who plays support. This pick has ridiculous kill potential right away at level 1, some hilarious new rope spots that Riot accidentally added in the newest patch, some great new mind game tricks to ambush enemies, permanent invisibility for roams, a new build focused on burst so he can 1 vs 1 carries, and of course a ton of new ways to use his revive passive, making sure the enemy team can never really win a 5v5 fight. This master player is named Akshan Support, and yes, that is his real account name, and he climbed all the way with this bizarre pick. Let me show you how he did it. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Alienware. I use an Alienware computer every day for editing and playing games. This is mine, the Aurora R13, their newest and best gaming PC. I've had mine since January, so about 10 months of use, and it is the best PC I've ever had. And you can get one as well at the link in the description. This PC has Challenger tier specs that are customizable all the way up to the best Nvidia cards and i9 processors, with easy access to all of the parts so you can always upgrade it in the future. This PC is perfect for competitive games like League, turn your settings up to high, never drop any FPS in teamfights, and never lose a game due to lag. But of course it's also great for playing other games. This PC can handle all of the newest AAA games. This week I've been playing the new Plague Tale, and it's quite similar to League, tons of rats everywhere, but in this game none of them are on your team. It looks amazing, running at ultra settings, and the R13 handles it with ease. There are so many amazing looking games coming to PC, so it's great to have a PC that can run them. And outside of gaming, it's also perfect for intensive work, like editing these videos, streaming and playing games at the same time, or even intensive things like 3D modeling. I'm also a big fan of the customizable lighting, that you can change to pretty much any color to fit your theme. So if you want to upgrade your gaming life, click the link in the description, and you can even get it with Prime delivery in some areas. So you could get your new Aurora R13 pretty much tomorrow. Super easy to set up, just plug it in and start playing games. Thanks so much to them for sponsoring. Back to Akshan and our player, who is actually an up-and-coming pro player named Veylot. Veylot is a Lithuanian player who started playing League all the way back in Season 1, but let's skip ahead to the good part. In Season 7, he'd climbed up to Diamond by this point, and became burnt out on playing solo queue, so instead started playing 1 vs 1 tournaments, even winning some and earning some money. Playing 1 vs 1s helped him improve massively every game because he had no one else to rely on, and soon enough he became very good at it, even winning the biggest EUS tournament of this year. So in Season 8 he began to use this 1 vs 1 skill to transition to playing top lane, easily transferring these skills to 1 vs 1 enemies and win lane. By Season 9, this love of 1 vs 1s got him into the qualifiers of a 1 vs 1 tournament held in Taiwan, with ex-pros like Voyboy or Season 2 world champion Toys. Veylot entered the European qualifiers, and out of the thousands of players, he managed to win, being flown out to Taiwan, and immediately being dominated by MMD, a pro player who just finished playing at Worlds. But inspired by meeting these pros, he decided to pursue his own pro career, swapping to 5 vs 5, but keeping his top lane specialty. After a couple of splits of success, he qualified to Ultra Liga, a top-level amateur league that qualifies into EU Masters, to then get scouted for the LEC. By the end of all this, he was very burnt out, so he wanted to try something different, but still keep improving at his favourite champion, Akshan. He was quite bored of top lane, playing in bad matchups where all he could do is farm and wait to see how the game ended, with no real chance of roaming and helping his team. So he thought about picking it in support, a role that was specialised for roaming picks. He knew it wouldn't be an easy swap, he'd never played the role before, but he did know Akshan very well, and knew that this champion could dominate lanes, and has incredible roam potential thanks to his invisibility, and he then discovered it had very good synergy with the support item, being able to proc it multiple times with just 1 rope, swinging past an enemy and getting 60 gold. This is not common at all on support, and Riot have actually removed a lot of interactions like this. So he made a fresh new account, and right away he realised Akshan Support was nothing like top lane, and this whole playstyle had to change, restarting from fresh. He needed a new build to cope with the low income, a new room page to deal with the new lane, and a new game plan to make sure he didn't just grief his AD carry and lose the game by himself. After a couple months of testing and practice, he managed to hit master tier, and even kept climbing with a super high MMR, playing against challenger players and pros like Yankos, still having success with this pick. But enough about him, how does this pick even work? At level 1, Akshan does not go to lane. He's searching for an enemy, so he can E onto them and proc his support item, surprise them and get a free 60 gold, so he can then base to buy an extra potion for lane, or if you don't buy any at the start, you can base to buy refillable. Getting to lane, he immediately wants to fight. Akshan at level 1 with the rope swing has very high damage, since this ability practically acts as like an auto-attack machine gun, proccing his 3-hit passive multiple times for extra damage. Usually, if there's a minion wave, this ability is completely useless, because Akshan E does not prioritize hitting champions, but Veylot noticed that if he took Ignite and used it on his target, the E will then prioritize prioritize the champion, even if there is a huge wave next to them. Level 2 Akshan takes Q, using it through the minions to extend the range and poke his next target. If you hit an enemy, it marks them with your passive. And once again, you can swing at them and your E will prioritize that person instead of the minions. He often uses Q Flash to quickly mark an enemy before swinging in, with the Q casting from the new location, so enemies won't be ready to dodge it, and you can then jump on them to burst them. These tiny mechanics are super important. If he swung in without doing these tricks, he would do no damage to the enemy and would just shove the wave. Level 3 Akshan gets his W, the stealth. He can now be permanently invisible in the lane, only needing to leave the invis if the enemy wants a fight, or if he wants to engage. But the enemies don't actually know if he's still there. He could be roaming, which is another one of his specialties. The invis is super powerful since it lasts forever, as long as you stay near a wall. So if the enemy laner walks up too far, Akshan comes out of Fog of War swinging onto them to try and get the kill. Or alternatively, he might not have even been there for the past 20 seconds, and could be roaming to mid lane, ready to swing onto them to get a kill. The enemy team will not know where you are for the whole of laning phase, until you reveal yourself. It's just like having an Evelynn on your team, with permanent global pressure, but enemies still have to worry about your jungler as well. If he does want to stay in lane and fight, he can always use this new Alcove swing to annoy enemies, jumping in and out of vision. This is a new addition in this week's patch. Akshan can now swing infinitely, so this is one of the new spots you can use, more coming up later. At level 6, Akshan gets his ult, which is usually a pretty bad ability, but for a support, the damage is quite reasonable. The best way to use it is after a full combo, cancelling it early to finish off the kill before the enemies can get behind something. But for support Akshan, this ability is mainly useful in a new way in teamfights later on. For now, he keeps poking to farm his support item and roaming, and this is where his W passive starts to come into play. Usually if you gank a lane and trade 1 for 1, it's fine, since enemies only get 1 kill worth of gold, and your team gets 1 kill worth of gold and an assist. But with Akshan, it's even better, giving his teammates the revive, letting them come out of base 25 seconds early, so they can run back to mid lane, getting an extra wave, and giving them free prio to roam. Every good play you make on this pick has a knock-on effect into the future that makes it easier for your teammates to play the game. With this tempo lead he can create, he wants to try and kill bot lane tower, since he's playing in a double range lane so it's quite easy to push and kill, and then he becomes a second jungler, stealthing around the map. Mid game is super interesting because even if enemies make the correct play, Akshan can punish them for doing it. For example, the enemy team kills 2 overextended players in top lane, collapsing on them, but then Akshan Support shows up, still invisible, and unexpectedly joins this fight. With his surprisingly good damage, he gets 2 kills, so overall it should be an even trade, 2 for 2. But Akshan's teammates get a fast respawn, so they sprint out to base, and Akshan has now bought his team a free Rift Herald, off a play that the enemies decided to make. This pick is all about tempo, creating timing windows for your team to make plays when the enemies are unable to respond. So here, 2 of Akshan's teammates die to Pyke, obviously a bad play. Akshan comes in, gets the kill on Pyke, and revives his top and jungle. They run out of base and instantly make a play themselves thanks to this new time Akshan has created. Whether it's a good play or a bad play is mostly up to your solo queue teammates. There's no champion that can ever fix that problem, but this one ends up working out thanks to these respawns and a good TP to catch the enemy off guard. All of this happens and the enemy Pyke is only just respawned running out of base. The free time Akshan creates is very unique and useful, as long as your teammates don't use it to int twice in a row. First item, Akshan does not buy a mythic, instead going for Umbral Glaive. We all know this item's OP, and on a champion with stealth and a lot of mobility, he can safely walk into wherever he wants, one-tap the ward to take them out, and then slip out safely with his rope. Since he's playing a support, not as a carry, he never needs to farm, so he can be sitting in stealth pretty much the whole game, waiting for an opportunity to do something. If there's a squishy enemy looking to make a play, they just might accidentally walk into him. He can also use his W to scout bushes without going into them, because if an enemy is standing inside them, he'll be warned with a little exclamation mark above his head, so he'll know if an enemy is standing inside it ready to ambush him, and can quickly move away, becoming invisible again, which stops enemies from chasing you. This is a great time to fully show off Riot's new changes to Akshan and the stupid thing I found, as well as a new proxy strategy you can use on this pick. First off, there was an amazing bug where Akshan could clip his hook into the side of a wall or a tower, and then swing in place for a crazy burst of damage. Riot fixed this. Well, they tried to fix it, they missed a few spots. Here's one of them that still works in case you're ever fighting in River. But alongside this supposed bug fix, they added a new feature, infinite swings. This works on towers, so if you're ever getting dived, stand close to the tower, use E to make it push you back, and then swing forever while enemies run around in circles trying to catch you. And unintentionally, Riot also created a couple of buggy spots where you can swing around huge terrain, covering all of this area in damage. Is it useful? Maybe. And now you can even do Proxy Akshan in the enemy base, being able to collect 2 waves at at the same time, and having fleet footwork to proc it over and over again to stay at full health. Not great on support Akshan, but could be good with a mid and top duo. So back to our support and its favourite part of the game, teamfights. Akshan is usually a carry by now, having 3 items, just ready to kill people. Akshan support is a lot different. His goal is to be a backline support, not aiming to be a DPS champion. Instead, his job is to be a cleanup reviver, using his W passive to bring teammates back from the dead and turn bad fights into good ones. So even if a fight starts off badly and your teammate gets picked, Akshan can trade this kill right back, now making it a 5 versus 4 with his teammate running out of base. Here's a fight that goes pretty badly. 3 of Akshan's teammates are dead, but he is still alive. So he does his best DPSing and shutting down the enemy that killed his teammates, then swinging out of the enemy base. So even in this fight that didn't go very well, 3 of his teammates are now alive again, sprinting out of base ready to get an objective like Baron. Enemies are left with the huge death timers, so they have no way to stop this Baron from dying. This sounds very strong and surprisingly easy, but if we look at how the fight started, you can see just how safe he's playing the whole time. Instead of using ult to try and get a kill, he's staying back and using it for poke to maybe try and get a cheese assist, which would give him a revive. He then ropes in once he knows it's safe, never putting himself in danger to kill anyone. He prefers to let his teammates take the damage, knowing he can bring them back if they die. On top lane, I do think this ability is annoying and a little bit unfair, but it's cool to see a player pick a champion in support, specifically to use this as part of their strategy, and just make the game easier for their teammates. Just like how a Zillion would ult someone to make a teamfight easier to win. Late game, Akshan gets a full AD crit build and becomes a real carry, just like any top or mid laner. This pick is very unique, so to rate it we have to talk about the risk versus reward. Of course this pick is playable, thanks to its damage and revives, but even our player Veylot agrees it can solo lose you a game if you play it incorrectly. If the enemy has point and click CC, instantly Akshan can die, since you're so squishy. If you get behind, the game gets really difficult, just like any other damage support, and he has no CC to make up for it. This pick has one of the highest skill caps in the game, due to the champion's mechanics, as well as this squishiness. But on the plus side, this difficulty comes with a reward, high damage, and this lets you win pretty much any matchup in bot lane, since you'll always have more damage than the enemies. And if you can get ahead, you will become strong enough to 1 versus 1 enemy carries thanks to his new build. Personally, I'm just shocked that no pro team has even managed to use Akshan. His revive just completely denies enemies from getting advantages in fights, undoing their hard work. I know he's hard to fit into a team comp in top lane, so maybe Akshan support could be the best way. For his support Akshan build, instead of going for crit right away, he prioritizes lethality early on, getting Eclipse as his mythic. The damage from this is great, but it's surprising how often the shield saves his life, since he's so squishy as a support. Then he buys boots, mobility for extra roams to take over the game, or tanky boots if you want to make sure you don't int. Collector, Lord Dominic's to get some more crit, then late game selling his Umbral Glaive to complete Infinity Edge, transitioning from support into a carry. His runes are similar to top lane, but in support it's even more vital to take press the attack to enable your teammates' damage. And for secondaries he has the snowballing gold generation special. Veylot is currently looking for a team, so anyone interested in an off-meta specialist in top lane can find him on his Twitter, and everyone else can watch him play fun stuff on his Twitch channel, link below. If you want even more Akshan tips, then check out my Akshan Jungle video, and thanks again to Alienware for sponsoring this one, link to get their best gaming PC in the description. Thanks so much for watching.